When Sarah first brought up the idea of an open marriage, I thought she was joking. We had been married for 8 years, built a home together, and shared everything. But one evening, over dinner, she leaned back in her chair and said, "I think we need more freedom. An open marriage will make things exciting." I laughed at first, waiting for her to smile, but her face stayed serious. At first, I tried to argue. I told her love was about commitment, about loyalty, about us. But she dismissed my words with a wave of her hand. "Don't be so old-fashioned," she said. "It's just exploring. It doesn't mean I don't love you." Against my better judgment, I agreed. Deep down, I hoped she would realize how wrong it was and come back to me fully. For the first few weeks, I pretended everything was fine. Sarah started going out more often, always dressed up, always smiling. She came home late, and the glow on her face told me exactly where she had been. I kept my mouth shut, swallowing my anger, because I didn't want to lose her. But slowly, I felt myself disappearing in my own home. It didn't take long for me to realize she wasn't just exploring. She was building something with another man. His name was Victor, a man with money and influence, and suddenly Sarah began acting like she was above me. She started mocking my job, my clothes, even the way I talked. She wasn't the woman I had married anymore. She was someone else, intoxicated by new attention. The final straw came one night when she didn't come home at all. I stayed awake till dawn, staring at the door, waiting for her key to turn. She walked in around 7 in the morning with Victor at her side, bold and unashamed. "We were just talking," she said with a smirk, as though I were a fool. Victor smirked too, as if I didn't even exist. I wanted to fight, to shout, to demand answers, but something told me silence would be stronger. That morning, I started gathering evidence. Phone records, messages, photos. I wasn't planning on revenge through anger. I wanted the truth exposed. The more I uncovered, the worse it became. Their meetings weren't just about romance. They were involved in shady dealings, using hotels and private parties as covers. The breaking point came when I overheard Sarah talking to Victor about money transfers and keeping things quiet. It wasn't just an affair anymore. They were knee-deep in fraud, scamming people for profit, and using the excuse of an open marriage as their cover. My heartbreak turned into something else: determination. I went to the police with everything I had. At first, they listened politely, but when I handed over bank statements and messages, their interest sharpened. They told me to stay quiet, to act normal, and to let them handle the rest. I played my role, pretending to be the clueless husband, while Sarah and Victor grew bolder in their lies. 2 weeks later, the trap was set. Sarah wanted to throw a party with Victor, and she insisted I attend, just to prove I was fine with everything. I went, smiling, holding my drink, and waiting. The room was filled with laughter, music, and their arrogance. Then, just as Sarah leaned into Victor, the doors burst open. Police officers stormed inside, shouting orders, and within minutes, both of them were handcuffed. Sarah's face turned pale. "What's happening?" she cried, looking around desperately. Victor tried to argue, but the officers read out charges: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. The entire room fell silent as the two of them were dragged away, their glamorous world crumbling in front of everyone. I stood there, still holding my glass, watching the woman I once loved taken away in handcuffs. She locked eyes with me, searching for help, but I gave her nothing. For the first time in months, I felt peace. I hadn't shouted, I hadn't fought, but the truth had done its work. The following days were a blur of whispers and gossip. Neighbors, friends, even relatives called to ask what happened. I told them only the truth. She had chosen her path, and I had simply stepped aside to let the law do its job. People shook their heads, some with pity, others with judgment, but I felt no shame. Sarah wrote me letters from jail, begging for forgiveness, promising she would change. But I had already made my decision. Love without loyalty is hollow, and marriage without trust is nothing. I signed the divorce papers without a second thought. In the end, Sarah got what she wanted: freedom. But it wasn't the kind she had imagined. It came with prison walls, cold metal bars, and the echo of choices she could never take back. And me. I walked away, finally free in the way that truly mattered.